Hello there! Many people have been requesting I make a proper gearing commentary, since the last one was pretty much me expressing my disappointment with how weak HE has become lately. I feel they have, I'm not certain if they have actually changed anything. It still feels strange at times. It's still, in the past you used to be able to get some damage out of hitting something besides the superstructure, but now it seems like you have to hit only purely the superstructure to get some damage. But this isn't about the changes, this is just a pure gearing commentary. Anyway, the first thing, if you saw in chat, I talked to my cruisers and requested they give me some support, since I'm going to cap C, so if they, I can easily take out any other DDs, but if they push in with a cruiser it can get quite tricky. So I request some support, but of course both of them are slow loaders, so neither even got my message and they're not even moving, and I'm already almost at the cap. As you can see, someone is mentioning this is a bit of brutal matchmaking, and it is. We are facing a Montana, Yamato, what else did they have? They have a Rune, Ibuki, Izumo, Hindenburg, and our only T10s is the Montana and me. So basically we got kind of fucked over by matchmaking. So this is going to be a rough game. But on the flip side, they only have a Fubuki, and I know that if it comes to 1v1 between me and the Fubuki, there will be no contest. The gearing absolutely eats Japanese DDs alive. It's completely brutal. So I have no fear of facing him in combat. That's why I push into C. But of course it's always worth requesting that backup, because if someone does push in and someone got your message, it's nice to get that support. Not to mention, if you have someone close by spotting for you, you can also use offensive smokes. So basically, just a cruiser coming close to C, he doesn't even have to push into the cap and risk himself. Just that he hovers around on the outside and aims his guns in. It's such a help for the team. It helps your destroyers massively in C. I always do it on my cruisers, because you're rarely at any risk. As you can see here, I saw that the majority of their fleet is going around that eastern flank, sorry. So I didn't even rely on any sort of indicator, because there was basically only one place I could shoot my torps, so I just sent both volleys down that same gap. I usually don't recommend doing tight spreads like that, because usually only your first wave will hit and the second one will be avoided, since they start turning as soon as they see the first wave. But in this case I didn't really have many options, so I figured what the hell, might as well shoot them both. I dislike having unsynchronized torpedo waves anyways, so that you shoot one, then you wait 30 seconds and you shoot another, and then you have desynchronized torpedo tubes, so you have to like memorize both the different cooldowns, which is a bit iffy. Anyway, someone asked which is better, Yamato or Montana. Everyone says Yamato, of course. It's not really much of a discussion there. Well, some dude would say it depends on the player, but that's not really true. The Yamato is simply the stronger ship. But that's not this discussion either. I pushed C. Instead of wasting my time going there to attempt to torp that fleet and as such, I go straight and cap B, because nice, I got 2 hits, but the gearing is not really a torpedo boat. So the Kagero is much better at sitting there and delaying them. You can see him just delaying that entire push by constantly torping, and I'm using the fact that I know that he will be able to delay them tons and tons and tons. So instead I'm going to push over to A and help our guys at A, and I will cap B on the way, of course. So I've capped 2 points for us. We're already gaining plenty of points, even though there has been no kills made. And I'm going to rely on this point advantage and the fact that the Kagero will delay them to try to help my team out at A. You can already see my team is being pushed back. They have pushed into the cap, whereas my team has been reversing or retreating. That's usually a sign of battle going pear-shaped. So I'm basically going to reverse this trend. I popped up an offensive smoke. If you still don't know what I mean with offensive smoke, then I have a guide on my channel on the Benson called How to Utilize Offensive Smokes. But I pop out an offensive smoke, I use the vision granted to me by my teammates, and I basically just start laying down damage. You can still see I'm doing 0 damage hits quite a lot, but at least the superstructure hits are now recording properly. So I'm getting some damage in. As you can see, I'm not going purely for the superstructure here. I'm actually waving my aim back and forth, trying to spread out my shells. Because if you aren't aware, then a battleship has 4 different spots you can set the fire on it. 4 different spots. And since I've already set the fire on his superstructure, landing additional shells at the superstructure will, yes, it will give me some HE damage, but it will give me nowhere near as much damage as a fire. Now I know he's used his repair, so now you're gonna see me, as soon as I get a fire in one spot, I always try to aim at another spot. Because that's the way you get multiple fires. If you keep shooting the same spot over and over and over again, then not only will you saturate the HE damage, but you will also not be able to start any additional fires. The damage model is complex enough in this game to basically realize when different parts are being hit. Launch the Torp since it looks like he's pushing in, and my Turpitz is pushing in. I don't agree with my Turpitz's choice, but because the Turpitz is now grabbing all their attention, I have no worries of moving out. My offensive smoke was about to run out anyways. So I'm basically using the distraction that this Turpitz granted me to get out of my smoke safely without taking any damage. And of course I'm raining down shells on this Turpitz. Not having too much luck with the fires. This is one of the reasons why, or one of the major reasons why I considered Soviet BD guns better. Not of course just the shell trajectory, but the fact that they have the increased fire chance, which makes a significant difference. But it should not be a problem because he's taken so much damage already, and I think he's used his heal. Oh, he died. Yeah, he got. I think did the Turpitz torp him? I wasn't looking at him, I was looking at the minimap, seeing how our Kagero is doing. He's managed to delay them quite a bit, but they have managed to get through that gap. And now that they're through that gap, it's going to be infinitely harder for him to delay them. So now they will start pushing towards C and B and basically try to steamroll all the points. But by the time they have finally broken through and capped C, we have already gained 644 points. And we only have one kill. And that's because I capped C and B at the start. So basically given us a massive lead. Now it comes to maintaining it and trying to build it and basically push this game to a win. Because the longer this game goes, probably the harder it will become, because they have a Yamato and they have a Montana and they have a Hindenburg. So when it comes to pure firepower, my team will lose. There's also of course the issue that our Montana is playing very, very scared. If you look at our battleships in the bottom left corner, they are scared shitless at the moment and being quite useless, whereas our cruisers of course are close to A, trying to get some work done. But that's very common in higher tiers. Battleships are very, very scared. Anyways, once again I send my torps, I slow down, wait for him to close. I don't want to reveal my position until he's closer, and until my torps have had some time to travel. There we go, now I smoke up and start firing. Another offensive smoke. My first offensive smoke helped push them out of the point, and now my second offensive smoke aided me in securing this camp. Okay, this North Carolina slowed down. No, basically almost stopped, but it's actually starting to reverse. Well, that's unfortunate because he managed to avoid all my torps because of that. I did set one fire on Odysseuma, but I'm gonna focus on North Carolina now since my torps missed. If you didn't know, you have a higher chance of setting a fire the lower tier your target is. So basically if you shoot the same amount of shells at the Montana as you do at the North Carolina, you will set more fires on the North Carolina, because that's how it's calculated. That's basically the advantage of gaining or having a higher, one of the advantages of having a higher tier ship is your chance of flooding a fire above is significantly smaller. Anyways, I think I got a fire, he repaired it, now I got a second fire. Now you can see I'm once again trying to hit shells all over his ship, like on the front, the back. You can see my turning my target, even though my crosshair is perfectly set up for his superstructure, I'm still trying to hit the front of the ship and all over to get more fires going. Because a fire will deal far more damage than your HE shells will. Especially when his repair is on cooldown and you know he'll be forced to endure the full duration of it. My smoke is about to run out. Always keep an eye out on the timer at the bottom. It doesn't work when it's your last smoke. Then you have to look at the timer at the top left. But when you still have a smoke left, you can usually anticipate when it's about to run out. I'm starting to speed up now because my smoke runs out 1:15, I think. So I'm already speeding up. Yeah, now it's running out right behind me as I leave the smoke. So I'm already basically moving to safety as it runs out. That way you maximize the use you get out of the smokes. I often see people using offensive smokes and they basically panic after 20-30 seconds and leave it instead of just sitting in it and using it to their advantage. So make sure you time them, because the smokes are different for different classes. The USDDs have the longest duration smokes, so they of course get the biggest advantage of offensive smokes. I think Japanese DDs have the shortest duration smokes. They run out at something like, was it 145 left on the timer? I can't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. I kind of have it like muscle memory by now. Okay, so I killed the North Carolina with my torps, and I managed to get the hit on the Ibuki. Now I'm guessing my team should be able to handle this point, so I'm gonna see if I can delay this massive enemy push that's coming from B, because my team is in a shitty position. They're inside A. I have no idea why they're inside A since I already capped them, but they pushed into A and now they're about to get sandwiched. They have 3 ships on the north and this entire fleet pushing from here. So I'm slowing down since you see my smoke is about to come up. Oh, I landed an initial torp on the north hipper, I think. Now I smoke up once again, slow down, smoke up, a third offensive smoke. It's superintendent. If I didn't have superintendent, I wouldn't be able to smoke up again. And I go for the cruiser. Of course, he already had a fire going, so either his repair was on cooldown or he was saving it. It doesn't matter, he's this close. Oh, he had a repair on cooldown. So I'm basically hammering shells into him, trying to get that fire going. I'm waiting for my torpedo cooldown because there's a Montana nearby. Yes, this guy's very much dead. There's nothing he can do. I managed to nab Confederate there as well. Okay, no, I don't want to shoot it. You saw my prediction sent my torps into the mountain. So instead of being in any hurry, I'm just maximizing my DPS. Okay, he tried to torp me. I don't even need to. I'm reversing slightly to dodge him. Nice, I got a good prediction of where the Montana was going before he disappeared from my vision. So I sent the torps out. And basically now I'm just sitting in the smoke for some additional time. Oh, the Fubuki is pushing in. He got spotted by the Montana though, but I think he's trying to push into me and get rid of me. But this is just a terrible thing for a Fubuki. Like, this is when I said at the start that the gearing absolutely murders Japanese DDs. This is what I meant. It's basically you can just see modules and shit breaking on him constantly. Everything he has is just breaking apart, just trying to get close to me, because the rate of fire on the ship is insane, and since they're all twin turrets. Nice, I landed 4 torps on the Montana. 5. Not as many as I'd wanted, since I overshot slightly, but that's kind of what happens when you take a widespread. Getting 5 torps is still a good 60,000 damage or something, 60-70. Anyways, I move out the smoke now because I can't sit still since the Fubuki could be torping into it. I can't take that risk. Managed to finish out the Fubuki as well. Now I'm in a really bad position now. This is what I meant with the problem with the speed coming in, because the Soviet DD could easily outrun them, but you don't have the same advantage as a gearing. I need to basically trying to gain distance to begin with. I don't want to be this close to an Admiral Hipper, because Admiral Hipper has very flat trajectories. Oh, and there's a Hindenburg behind as well. Oh, I think he's busy with the Kagura though. But the Admiral Hipper is a big problem. I can't be close to him at all, because his flat trajectories will completely wreck me. Of course the Montana and Izuma doesn't help either. Yeah, you see how flat those are. If I hadn't turned, those would have all hit straight on me, because the accuracy is so good on that ship. And even the battleship. So now basically I kited until I got out of detection. And now I'm gonna see if I could get this North Carolina killed. Because now I know they have moved their guns away from me, because I disappeared. So now I'm gonna see if I could wreck this North Carolina. I need to land 3 torps on him to be able to kill him without any risk. Oh, okay. I turned, but he managed to get the perfect RNG spread. So that happens. Shit happens. Of course it's frustrating, but shit happens. And I only landed 1 torp. I think 2 would have even been enough to kill him. Now I'm in a bit of a trouble because that massive shell hit I took was just ridiculous. At least, but now I know his repair is on cooldown, so I'm trying to get some fires going, because they have 2 caps. and we only have one, so if we don't get a kill, then they will eventually outpace us. I get a fire on him. If I get... Okay, I got 2 fires on him now. Now I already know he's dead. Now I'm just trying to evade and basically stay alive. That is my hope here, staying alive, because I know he's already dead. His repair is on cooldown, he's dead, and fuck, someone shot at him but missed. Oh, now I'm weaving just like mad, trying to avoid these shells the best I can. Come on. No way! I'm a bit salty here, like PJSalt, because see, look how quickly he died now. That literally his last shell didn't over-penetrate, but it hit me in the engine, so it did full AP damage. And that killed me. Goddamn. Luckily, however, I told my team to run, because the advantage we have gotten was high enough, so that when the time ran out, the game ended with our victory. And you can see the money is great. The scoreboard XP is obviously shows how this game went. I got 16k XP because I used Confederate and Daily Win. And of course the damage is, what is it, 264, 65k? Something like that. It's a shit ton of damage now. I didn't even survive till the end, which was a shame. I could have survived, but I got too greedy, I think. And that kind of backfired. But this game showed, I think, the basics of gearing gameplay and how much fun you can have playing the ship. Let's jump right into the modules. Well, not much to say here, it's a T10, you can't change anything, it's like this by default. And of course I use in Consumables, I use the Premium Repair and the Premium Smoke. This is a T10 ship, so even though I have last stand, using Premium Repair is an absolute must-have. And even if you're worried about the cost, then basically having to wait for a smoke or a fire that extra 20 seconds will probably cost you more in repair costs than the actual consumable. So this one pays for itself in every single battle, unless you somehow magically manage to not take any damage. But still, both of these very much necessary. You saw how much I used the smoke, very much necessary once again. Upgrade wise, main battery modification, very simple. You use your guns and it reduces the main battery repair time, it reduces the chance of them being incapacitated, and it reduces the chance of detonation. All of those things are fantastic for you, you want them. Here, once again, very simple, you want the accuracy. This is, you don't need traverse speed, because your turrets turn incredibly fast. What's the default turret turn rate? 7.2, so getting turret traverse is completely pointless. And last, here some people might like the loading time for extra DPS, but personally I think the range is far more important, because the default range of this is pitifully small, much smaller than, or much shorter than on the Fletcher. So I think it's pretty much a must-have to have the increased range, because otherwise you have such issues hitting anything far away, or well, far away as far as you can get with the gearing range. Here we have of course the propulsion modification. Very simple, I've explained this in multiple commentaries, but because I have last stand, this isn't really as important, but considering that damage control, this one is pretty much complete garbage. It's only worth it really on battleships because of how small. It works the same way as the captain perk that reduces by 7%, so it's not actually a flat amount of -3 or -5, it's much smaller. This is simply to not fuck with my engine when I'm trying to flee, and considering I will probably be speccing out of last stand at some point, hence I use this one. Here I actually, instead of using the steering gears, I'll be using the propulsion, because if you look at the maneuverability, it already has a rudder shift time of 3.3 seconds, so basically it handles like a god. The gearing handles amazingly well. So instead I use this increased propulsion, because often when I stop in smokes, people will send torpedoes into that smoke, and being able to quickly accelerate or get away is very important. Or if a DD is rushing you, you're in the smoke, you need to be able to accelerate quickly. So I personally value this above the steering gear modification. And this one is pretty much pointless considering how short your repair cooldown is. It's 40 seconds, so you'll be able to repair any flooding or burning very quickly. And last, once again, there's no point using this one because you don't have 20 km torpedoes, so this is very straightforward. You want the detectability buff. And camo wise, well, I use of course increased concealment, or well, less detectability, same thing. And flag-wise, honestly, the only ones I really strongly recommend is the Zero Mic, 5% maximum ship speed. The gearing isn't very fast, so getting some extra speed out of it. Well, it's decently fast, but compared to some other DDs, it's not that fast, especially at T10. The detonation is pretty much a must-have on a destroyer at T10. You want to save it for this guy, since these guys tend to detonate quite a bit. And well, this one is I just use on my T10 and T9 ships as well, just to save a bit of extra money. Those are the only must-haves. This is just XP and this is just money, so that's entirely up to you. Oh, I forgot to mount this one. It's for reaching rank 5, yay! Anyway, Captain perks. Well, first and must-have, situation awareness. No discussion, you need to know when you're detected or not. Second, in my opinion, must-have is the reload times on your guns, 10% reload. I mean, this is pretty much flat out 10% damage increase, so yes, you will want this considering how much you use your guns. Here we actually go for the torpedoes, not for the guns. As I already said, the guns on this ship turn incredibly quickly and there is no chance of you out-turning them ever, so this is completely pointless. Instead you want this to reduce the cooldown of your torpedoes at least a bit. This one is once again very straightforward. You saw how much I used the smoke. You saw I actually ran out of smokes in that fight, and that's with Superintendent giving me an additional smoke. So yes, you want this one. It also gives you extra defensive AA, consumables, which is very good when you're facing carriers. Now, here I have both Demolition Expert and Last Stand. Now, some people might get this one instead for the increased range, but I get this from my upgrades instead. So of course there are some ways you can do. You can basically get 12% reload from here, and then you get from whoops, I'm clicking all the wrong things. You could get that 12% reload from there, and then you get the range from here instead. It's optional, but I prefer to get it my way because then I can get this Demolition Expert perk, which increases your chance of setting a fire from flat 5% to flat 8%, which is a very significant increase considering how small your chances to begin with. So it comes close to doubling it. I mean, it's very, very good. Okay, that was awkward math. It doesn't even come close to doubling it, but whatever, you get my point. It's amazing. And I'm using Last Stand at the moment, but I will probably be speccing out of Last Stand and speccing into better concealment, because as you've seen in my Kagero vids, you know how highly I value concealment. So once I get one more point on my captain, I will probably be going for Concealment Expert. And that was my... I did go over everything, did I? Yes, nothing left behind. Okay, that was my gearing commentary. I hope you enjoyed it.